going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first few stories are actually all about the Brazilians competing in the Arnold Classic because they're really taking over this lineup in terms of really impressive updates and being some of the favorites to be top three. And then in Classic Physique, Ramon is obviously the defending champion. He's the favorite to win that thing. But first, I want to talk about Rafael Brandao. We got a couple new updates today of Rafael from his coach, Neil Yoda Hill. They're both most musculars. And again, the observation here is Rafael looks a lot bigger than usual. And again, this has been kind of the criticism of Rafael throughout his career is when he's competing in a bigger lineup, like the Olympia or a bigger level show, he tends to get overlooked. He tends to get lost in the mix, and the main criticism has been he needs more size. He's just a little bit too small, and he kind of gets overlooked for that reason. He's got a great physique. He's very aesthetic. He usually comes in really good condition, but just a little bit too small has been the main picking point on him. And what we saw from Rafael in this past offseason, in a pretty extended hiatus, about over a year since we saw him compete, was, I think, arguably the biggest he's ever been in the offseason, or the biggest I ever remember seeing him in the offseason. Some of those offseason pictures were pretty freaky. I mean, he obviously dedicated a lot of time and made that his goal and took note of that point of criticism was, put on more size, and that looks like is what he did. And now that we see him now at, pretty much 1 week out here, it looks like he's held on to quite a bit of that size going into the show. And I think the main question is going to be, because obviously he did put on size, the question is going to be, did he sacrifice any conditioning in doing so? I think he does look significantly bigger. I mean, you look at these most musculars, you look at his legs, which I think is another big point where you can notice some real difference. I mean, you can see the fullness in the upper body, but his legs previously were kind of a weaker point for him. Now they look pretty strong. I think there's a very noticeable size increase in his lower body. And while they do look bigger, I think this, again, is kind of my concern about will he sacrifice any conditioning, because when I saw these updates of his legs, my first thought was, well, yeah, his quads are separated. But like when we saw the updates from Samson and Hadi, they've got like cross-striated quads. So not only the up and down lines, but the horizontal lines. That's what I mean when I say cross-striated. And you really only see vertical separation in Rafael's legs. And you don't really see a whole lot of vascularity either. And again, that could be, as his coach noted, it's time to add carbs. So he could just be kind of flat right now. But he doesn't really seem to have that dry, grainy look to his quads like we see from, Samson and Hadi. And then if you go back over to the most muscular, and again, to give some credit here to Antoine Vaillant, I saw pretty much the same most muscular pose from Antoine today, like almost the same angle. And if you put it side by side with Rafael's most muscular, I think you can see some noticeable differences in conditioning. I mean, you look at Antoine, and you can see, these really deep striations in the shoulders. The vascularity, honestly, between the two is about the same. You can see, I think, more striations in Antoine's pecs, and he just looks a little bit grainier. He looks a little bit harder. Then if you look at his abs, you don't really see kind of the loose skin that you can see at the bottom of Rafael's abs from Antoine. And I think, again, it could be attributed to lack of carbs. And once he fills out with the carbs, you wouldn't see that loose skin because his muscles would be fuller. He'd be pressing out tighter, tightening out the skin. And honestly, as I look at this, I would honestly actually say I think Antoine is more vascular too. So I think, deeper striations in the chest, deeper striations in the shoulders, midsection looks tighter, more vascular, drier. I think Antoine is in a lot better conditioning. So again, to give Antoine some credit here, it's just another thing I worry about with Rafael. And then we got a back lat spread from both Rafael and his Brazilian counterpart, Horse MD. And if you look at Horse MD's back lat spread compared to Rafael's, and it's I will admit, it's kind of a different angle, and it's kind of more flattering lighting for Horse's update. But you can see very little skin fold at the very bottom of his lats, Horse's lats. You can see maybe 2 slight little wrinkles at the bottom of Horse's back. But with Rafael, if you look at that lower back area right below the lats, you can see quite a few wrinkles, and that's loose skin. That's a sign of, either water or fat hanging out in that lower back. And that's a little bit concerning to me looking at Rafael. And especially, I do consider him to have one of the best physiques in this lineup. and I still think he's got a good shot at top 3, but I'm wondering if this pursuit of a bigger physique on stage, if maybe he did sacrifice some conditioning. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about how Rafael is looking in these updates, and when you put him, next to these other guys, how do you think they compare? Let me know down below. Now, another Brazilian guy that a lot of people are talking about, obviously, is Ramon going into the classic physique portion of the Arnold Classic here. He's the returning defending champ. And I saw these screen grabs on Brazil Bodybuilding News from, I guess, a video that was featuring Ramon. And you can see in these updates, not only is Ramon very big, but he's clearly peeled. I mean, deep striations in the shoulders, chest, super vascular, but still really full in the upper body. Ramon's going to be very difficult to beat here. I think he looks phenomenal. And I think when you look at these updates, it's really hard to make an argument against him winning. As good as Urs looks, as good as, well, actually, I can't say that because we haven't really seen much from Urs. But as good as Urs is, and as good as Brion looks in the updates that we've seen from Brion, it's really hard to make an argument for anybody beating Ramon at this show. Ramon looks incredible in these updates. That's really all there is to say. And this is about a week out, super full, super vascular. I don't know how this guy makes weight for classic physique, honestly. As big as he looks, as heavy as he gets going into the show, I don't know how he meets that weight limit because the guy looks huge. Now, another classic physique competitor that we've talked a bit about going into this show is Wesley Vissers. Wesley Vissers has posted a lot of updates as we've gotten closer to the show, and he's really been one of the more transparent guys in this lineup as far as classic physique is concerned. He's posted updates pretty much every week, and he posted a video today, a posing video. And as always, I mean, his updates, he always looks super conditioned. He looks crazy in this update from a conditioning standpoint. Just striations everywhere. He's a bigger guy. He's a taller guy. What more can Wesley really do to improve his physique? I mean, the guy looks phenomenal. I think he's got a great structure, just maybe not the exact ideal structure that they're apparently looking for in classic physique. He brings a lot of size, great stage presence. Again, taller guy. His conditioning is always really good. I really see no reason why Wesley can't be in the mix next to Urs and Ramon and Brion, and I think he probably will be based on some of these updates, or at least I hope he is. I just hope he gets the recognition he deserves here because I think he looks phenomenal. And honestly, while I'm on the topic, while I'm thinking of it, I just looked at Urs's Instagram, and there haven't been any physique updates since like December or November, which is really odd for Urs. And I've realized we haven't really talked about him much going into the show, and I think that's why. And I know we heard these rumors that he was potentially not going to compete. He dispelled those rumors. I've heard some other rumors that he's been sick and that was throwing him off a little bit during this prep. So I kind of wonder if there's any truth to any of these rumors that maybe, something has been going on with him, because typically he's one of the guys that posts the most updates going into a show, like especially the Olympia. We saw a ton of updates from Urs. And we've seen a ton from Brion too. We talked about him in the last video. And Ramon is typically the guy that's the most withholding of physique updates. And frankly, surprisingly, we've seen a lot more from him than we have from Urs, which is kind of interesting to me. And honestly, unless there was like a brief clip on Urs's YouTube channel or something, I don't think we've seen a post from this prep on his Instagram as far as a physique update goes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, we haven't really gotten any more physique updates from Hadi, but we have gotten quite a few training videos, all of which he's training pretty heavy in, including this update today, where he's squatting what appears to be 7 plates on each side of the bar. And what I can't quite tell if those are 45s, 25s, 35s. I can't really quite read that on the side there. I'm assuming they're 45s, but 7 plates on each side, albeit on a Smith machine. The plates do look a little smaller, but I think that does say 40. Anyway, he's squatting really heavy going into the show, and you can tell that he really wants it, which has been the point that I've kind of been making about Hadi this entire time. Is I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's got something to prove. And I have a feeling we could honestly see the best Hadi we've ever seen at this Arnold Classic, because I think he wants to remind people how good he is, and he didn't want to just let that title slip out of his hands and, kind of drift off into obscurity. He wants to make a statement here and regain some momentum going back into the Olympia where he's going to face Derek again. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about all these stories. And at 1 week out, now having seen all the updates that you've seen, top 3 Arnold Classic predictions in the comments below. Drop them. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification icon, all that good stuff. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.